In this video, we're going to be using properties of exponents to simplify these expressions. So our first expression is negative 3ab raised to the fourth times the quantity 4ab to the negative third. So as we look at our whole numbers in the front, our negative 3, it's not raised to a power, and our 4 is not raised to a power, which means that those can just get multiplied with each other, which is going to give us a negative 12. Now if we look at our A, our first A, it is, it does not have a power. And so we can just write down A, and if we look over at our next power, or at our other part, the A is also by itself, so we have A times A. Now what we need to remember though is that because they're by themselves, it's actually A to the 1 power and A to the 1 power. And so what we have here, or we have some twin bases, and they're side by side, which means we get to add our exponents. And so here we're going to have A squared. And now we can look at our B's. So if we look at our base of B, here we have a base of B to the fourth, and we have a base of B to the negative 3. And again, we have two bases that are twin bases. They're side by side. They're both B's. So we're able to take the exponents up on top, that 4 and that 3, and we get to add them together. So what is 4 plus negative 3? Yep, it's the first power. So we can simplify this, and it becomes negative 12a squared b to the first power. Or in other words, we would write negative 12a squared b. So let's look at our second expression over here. We have the quantity 2xy squared, all raised to the third power. Now, if there had been a number out in front, like a whole number out in front of our exponent, like a 5, we would distribute that 5. But there isn't one. But our 3 exponent, because there's parentheses around all of these, that 3 gets to go to each of those. So we can actually rewrite this as 2 raised to the third power, x raised to the third power, and y squared raised to the third power. So let's look at what that gives us. So 2 to the third is 8, because that's 2 times 2 times 2. The x to the third, if we look at that, there aren't any other x's to combine that with. So that's just going to stay an x to the third. Now, we have a y squared to the third power, and because we have one base that has an exponent with another exponent, like a tip top, we're able to take that 2 and the 3, and we get to multiply those together. And so that's going to give us a y to the 6th power. Then if we look at our problem, 8x to the third, y to the 6th, there's nothing else that can be combined, and so we know that that's our end. That's going to be our solution. Let's take a look at our third example. Here we have 3 times a times the quantity negative 4a squared, all to the 0 power. So if you remember from our properties, 0 is special. When we have an exponent that is a 0, it means that that whole piece, anything to the 0 power, has a value of 1. So what we really have here is 3 times a times 1. So we're able to put our 3 and our 1 together, and 3 times 1 is 3. And then we have a, and there's nothing else to combine with those. And so we're finished and simplified down to 3a.